Hi there, we're going to do this a little differently in installments. So these are the first 7 of this month's 21 review requests from the supporters in October. So here I am in the car, let's get to it. I'm going to wear sunglasses, not because I'm trying to look cool, but you know, it's bright out. There was an ophthalmologist that I was seeing for getting my eyeglass prescription. And in the course of getting my checkup, she said, "Do you spend time outdoors without sunglasses?" And I was running at that time a lot, and I was like, "Yeah, I do. I'm outside, you know, an hour or so a day. And I don't wear sunglasses because I don't." And she was this adorable Asian woman, and I think I was trying to impress her by telling her, "Yeah, I don't like wearing sunglasses when I'm talking to people. I feel like there's an obstacle between me and that person." And I thought I was being super deep and soulful and it would impress her. And she looked at me and she said, "Well, you know, you can take them off when you talk to people." So, yeah, that's the sunglasses thing. All right, let's see. So the first pick, I've got it written down here. It's probably illegal. It's illegal to talk on a cell phone. Is it legal to, while you're driving, is it legal to read off of a legal pad? I don't know. Sam S. has chosen Dominions, plural. Dominion is the card game, Dominions, plural, is the video game. Dominions 5, which will be out soon. My response to that, my counter recommendation, Sam S., and I feel like I'm kind of punting here because I'm positive anybody who recommends Dominions 5 is familiar with Ill Winter's other games. But I'm just going to counter-recommend Conquest of Elysium 2, 4, whatever the last one was. Because when it comes to Ill Winter's skill at making asymmetrical, vividly realized, imaginative factions, I feel that Dominions, of course, is a great example of their work, but Conquest of Elysium is a great just hop in and go way to experience that. It's not nearly as it doesn't have the steep learning curve that a Dominions game has. So I don't know why I'm picking that, because I'm sure you've obviously played Conquest of Elysium. But there you go. There's my counter recommendation in case you haven't. And I'm super looking forward to that coming out, Dominions 5. 1R, The Devils, a 1971. I think it's Kurt Russell, right? An Oliver Reed movie about, I think, a crazy nun. Crazy nuns possessed by people. You know, Ken Russell, that's all I have to say. Super freaky, 1971. I've actually seen it, but not in a very long time. So for my counter recommendation, 1R, I was trying to think of movies about religion, about Christianity. Although I'm not, I think The Devils is just Ken Russell just doing his normal, hey, madness is insane kind of stuff. I'm not sure it's specifically about Christianity. That's the setting, but is it about religion? I don't know. Haven't seen it in a while. But while thinking about movies that... Oh, here comes a tunnel. Hold your breath. Holding my breath. There, did it. While thinking about movies that are about religion, one of my favorite movies about religion, and specifically about Christianity, about the conflict of faith versus knowledge. John Patrick Shanley's Doubt, which he directed with Meryl Streep and Philip Seymour Hoffman. You've probably seen it. If you haven't, you should. It's a great bit of work. And a great Philip Seymour Hoffman performance. I miss him. His initials, PSH, they're psh. It's very dismissive initials for such a phenomenal actor. Number 3. No, that was number 3. Oh god, paperwork issues in the car, the moving car. Number 4, Joseph M. chooses an RPG called Artesia. And from the description, I think it's a tabletop RPG. Sort of thing you'd sit around with your friends and play at the dining room table if you don't have board games to be... Oh, good. We're in traffic. And the thing he mentions about Artesia is the experience point system for character progression and how it uses a system of 23 tarot suits or cards or whatever. And what your character does applies experience points into specific tarot suits. So it's very much a system of leveling up your character by doing stuff your character would do that reinforces his ability to do that stuff, I presume. So it's a tabletop RPG. I don't play a lot of tabletop RPGs, by which I mean I don't play any tabletop RPGs, but I would be interested in reading rules like this. I love reading rules. So this would be a review more of the rules, I guess, assuming that's okay, Joseph. My counter recommendation, this is an older action RPG from Ascalon called Sacred 2. And Sacred 2, one of the things that I really liked about Sacred 2, as far as world building, it's just a big open area. You go wherever you want, you just hoover up, gold and experience points, and you're just killing stuff. But what I liked about Sacred 2 is its character progression system. Super finicky, super German. You built up your character, it very much had a clockwork feel, very intricate character, skill interplay with attributes and stuff. I don't recall how much gear figured into that. But there's my counter recommendation, is Sacred 2 as far as character progression systems. So that was number 4 for Joseph M. Number 5, Jarmo P. recommends a movie called Hrtar, which he translates as Rams, and he says it's an Icelandic movie that reminds him of his experience growing up in Finland. Hold on one second. Oh, no, this is wrong. Okay. Oh, wow. That was a short trip. So my counter recommendation, Jarmo, is a movie filmed in Iceland called Bokeh. Bokeh, and I don't recall why it's called that. Is it the name of an Icelandic god or something? With the caveat that it's not a very good movie. But what it is, you see movies that are shot in Iceland or shows like Game of Thrones, and it creates this sensation that Iceland is this eerie wilderness formed by volcanoes and snow and the sea. What Bokeh does is it's a movie set in Iceland in the cities and towns. It's like, this is what civilization looks like in Iceland. This is what people's houses look like. This is what it's like to go into a pub or a store. This is a city in Iceland. So I don't like Bokeh a lot, but I did like its unique view of Iceland. All right, so we're almost at number 6. Alex C. recommends Happy Go Lucky. He calls it a non-depressing Mike Leigh movie, which it is. It's a great Mike Leigh movie. I like Happy Go Lucky a lot. And it was, of course, Sally Hawkins. My counter recommendation, Alex, have you seen Submarine? Movie directed, I don't know if you wrote it, directed by Richard, I don't know how to say this guy's last name, Ayoade. He's one of the folks, he's one of the alumni from Garth Marenghi's Dark Place. Submarine is a coming-of-age movie. It's okay. There's nothing super special about it. But Sally Hawkins and Noah Taylor play the mother and father. And I love every scene with the two of them. So there's my counter recommendation. And this timing is perfect. My voice is about to go, so we'll do one more. Aqua Mafia, number 7. Castles of Burgundy. A highly rated Stefan Feld design. In fact, it's number 10 on Board Game Geek. How is it that I haven't played the 10th best game on Board Game Geek? I don't know. It's an older game. It's from 2011. And my counter recommendation, Aqua Mafia. I confess I don't know a lot of Stefan Feld. I think the only Stefan Feld game I own, which I'm going to now counter-recommend, is a game that he did 2 years later than Castles of Burgundy. This game is rated 131st place on Board Game Geek, but I think the ratings on Board Game Geek are dopey, by the way. And this is a game called Bora Bora, which I love for... I think it's typical Stefan Feld. Hey, there's lots of point salad stuff. Stefan Feld, is he Trajan? I hate that game. So Bora Bora has a lot of that. You do a bunch of different things to get points a bunch of different ways. What it also has that I really love is the theming. It's set in a South Pacific islander paradise, untouched by Western civilization, very primitive, and there's fishing, and there's making jewelry, and there's tattoos, and there's worshiping the gods, and it's super charming. And you're just building up a village, and there's this there's this weird un-PC perspective on gender roles. The women make jewelry and the dudes get tattoos to impress each other. And so there you go. There's my counter recommendation is Bora Bora. I'm about to lose my voice, so I'm going to stop right now, and I'll be back shortly, presumably in a different setting, with more of the reviewer requests. Hoarder S, number 8, requests Brothers Tale of Two Sons. I don't know what this game is. I've heard folks mention it. Is it just like an adventure game? Please don't tell me it's a platformer. But at any rate, I've heard lots of folks say great things about it. I've purposefully not wanted to hear much information. I'll just sit down and play it at some point. If an 8 gets rolled, I'll be playing it today. So my counter recommendation, Hoarder, I was just thinking of stories about brothers. And I've mentioned this movie on our movie podcast before. It's relatively difficult to find. It's on Amazon. It's a small indie movie called Three Priests. And the substance of the movie is the relationship between two brothers. And the brothers themselves aren't that great as far as the actors and the characters. It's more about the events and the family and the characters around the brothers. But they're the core emotional dynamic of this movie, Three Priests. So there's my counter recommendation. A little indie movie by a director named Jim Comas Cole. I think it's his only movie that I really like. With the fantastic Michael Park in it. A great Michael Park performance. Clay H, number 9, Thimbleweed Park. I did look this up, and this did seem like it is an adventure game. It seems like it's horror, mystery, thriller. Wasn't entirely sure what to make of it. Didn't read much about it. Looks intriguing. So my counter recommendation, Clay, based on the title, Thimbleweed Park. There's a series now in its 2nd season on Sci-Fi. I know, bear with me. Hold on a second. Called Channel Zero. It's the creation of a fellow named Nick Acosta. And Channel Zero, their idea is that they would take stories from Creepypasta, which is this internet site where folks sort of almost like, is it crowdsourced horror fiction? I don't know how you describe it. But it's basically internet horror lore assembled in one place. Is that fair? At any rate, Channel Zero has mined Creepypasta for stories that it then fleshes out into a full season. And I'm not entirely convinced with season 1, which was called Candlestick Cove, which is why Thimbleweed Park made me think of that. I'm not entirely convinced that Candlestick Cove works as a full season. However, it has some amazingly eerie moments, and you will know from the first 5 minutes whether or not it's the sort of horror that you like. Also fascinating in Candlestick Cove, the casting of Paul Schneider as the lead actor is unusual. So at any rate, it seems a little thin for a full season. It's a disappointing finale, but there's some fascinating stuff in Channel Zero. The 2nd season of Channel Zero, currently running, called No End House. The first, it was kind of the opposite. The first episode, I was like, this is dumb. Teenagers go into a haunted house, big deal. But the 2nd, I think 3rd episodes, which have aired now, really intriguing stuff. The great John Carroll Lynch has a prominent role, and the teenage actors who are in it, not annoying. Can't say that about many horror movies. So there's my counter recommendation. I have no idea if they're thematically similar, but the name Thimbleweed Park made me think Candlestick Cove and this season's No End House, which I definitely recommend based on the first 3 episodes. Excuse me. Sandu B, who is a local here in Los Angeles and seems to be fond of recommending local attractions, says, go to Frank and Musso's and have a cocktail and review that. All right, Sandu, here is, because Frank and Musso's is a famous restaurant bar here in Los Angeles. I've been there before. I think most folks who live here have at least driven by it, of course. As far as attractions in Los Angeles that are my favorite places to go, Sandu, and I don't know if we've ever talked about this, do you know those screenings at the Hollywood Forever Cemetery? Because it's a great format to see a movie outdoors. You have to get there early, you have to queue up, and eventually they will let folks in. And if you're at the head of the line, you won't get shunted off to some hard to see area where the screen is way off and you can't find room. Because what happens is they open up an area in the cemetery next to a mausoleum, and on the side of the mausoleum, they broadcast a movie. And when it gets dark, everybody hangs out and lays out a blanket, and you're encouraged to bring your own wine and picnic foods and whatever. And you have a picnic, and then it gets dark and they start the movie. And it's really exciting. A lot of it depends on what movie you see there. I've seen Jaws, I've seen Night of the Living Dead, Phantasm. So pick one of your favorite movies, go to the Hollywood Forever Cemetery here in Los Angeles. That's my counter recommendation. All right, number 11, David D. I love David D's unique review requests. This one I'm not sure what to make of. He is sending me it's not a recipe per se, but it's instructions on how to eat rice with a raw egg broken over it. Okay. David D, I like eggs, I like rice. Interesting. All right. So David D, here's my counter recommendation as far as culinary idiosyncrasies. Because that's what I think of when I imagine someone cracking a raw egg over rice. The rice is heated, and the idea is it cooks the egg somewhat. So that does sound like a culinary idiosyncrasy to me. Here is one of my culinary idiosyncrasies. I cannot get enough of this stuff. Do you know what this is? Have you guys heard of this? It's basically like malted vinegar, but it's just this tangy sauce. When I had it when I was in London, it was just called brown sauce, which sounds horrible name for a product, but you find it as HP sauce these days. I've been buying it a bottle at a time. It runs out because it's not easy to find in the US. It tends to get shipped from the UK or from some British specialties food shop here in the US. So I ordered it online. It can be a little touch and go as I'm starting to run out, waiting for the new bottle of HP sauce to arrive. So I finally just went ahead and bit the bullet and bought a 6-pack. What's the expiration date on these? January 10th, 2018. Yikes. I need to get cracking. All right. I'm sure it'll be fine after that, won't it? Well, we'll find out. So there's my counter recommendation. HP sauce is great stuff. On sausage, what else would you eat it on? I guess I just eat it on like sausage and hot dogs. A hamburger. Oh, it'd be so good on a hamburger. All right, that's number 11. Number 12, Matt B. Excuse me. Matt B recommends a game called Agricola, a board game. Agricola, really? But reading further, Matt B says, no, not the Agricola you normally think of. This is Agricola, Master of Britain from Hollandspiel. It's a solitaire board game. How can they get away with naming themselves Agricola? All right, I'm always down with solitaire board games, Matt B. So I'd love for that to be rolled. Here's my counter recommendation. So apparently Master of Britain, it's a historical, hey, you're in Britain, and I don't know what historical period it is. But here's my counter recommendation for sort of a grand strategic solitaire board game. This one has a unique scale. In this game I'm about to show you, every turn is, oh shoot, I should have looked it up. I think it's like every turn is a millennia? Century? At any rate, every turn is many, many years. Every little unit is a vast fleet with its support system and its planetary bases. It has combat imagined so far in the future that conventional warfare has been subverted by ascended telepathic human beings that we can't even imagine. So there's conventional warfare and I forget what they call it, like transcendent warfare. And there are different combat values. It's called Struggle for the Galactic Empire. It's not super flashy, where it has, what you're basically doing is maintaining stability. There's a chaos index, and you just have to keep that chaos clamped down for a certain period of time. And all of these events happen, and aliens pop up, and usurpers try to overthrow you, and there are conquering races that come through and take your planets. And like I said, each turn is hundreds of years. So what you do is the chaos takes the form of random events. And in any normal game, this is like 2011. How old is this? In any normal game, those would be cards. And by normal game, I mean contemporary. Where you draw a card, and it explains what it does, and then it takes effect. This doesn't have that. This has a bowl of chits, and you draw a chit, and then you look up in the rules what the chit means. So it's a bit antiquated in that way. Not a lot of artwork, but as far as an imaginative, far, far future setting, I really like this. And there's some cool gameplay dynamics for how to resolve different types of chaoses. So there's my counter recommendation, Matt B. Andrew S., one of the 3 Andrew S's that we have here. This is the Andrew S. that, yes, I've met this Andrew S., hello. He mentions being in New York and seeing the effect, I think he said like gentrification, or the effect of wealth on certain neighborhoods versus the way it used to be. That's gentrification, right? And he says, I would like you to go back and watch Saturday Night Fever and review it. Okay. Saturday Night Fever, early John Badham. Badham? I don't know how you say his name. So here's my counter recommendation, Andrew S. I saw this maybe, 5-10 years ago. I don't think it holds up, but it's an interesting relic of the times. When's the last time you saw Blue Thunder with Roy Scheider in a helicopter? And Malcolm McDowell was the villain, I think. Chris M., the first season of The Larry Sanders Show. Wow. Yeah, that makes me miss Gary Shandling. Chris M., and, oh gosh, here's my counter recommendation, Chris M. We all know how awesome Rip Torn is from The Larry Sanders Show, and even putting up with things like the Men in Black movies. If you go back to 1973 and watch a movie called Payday? Oh shoot, I wrote Payback, but that's the Mel Gibson thing. I think it's Payday. It's got to be Payday. He plays a country singer who's an alcoholic. It's not an Alcoholics Are Tedious movie. Instead, it's a forces of nature personalities are fascinating movie. And it's just an early, amazing Rip Torn performance. He's captivating in that. And you watch him in 1973 and think, yeah, of course this guy has got many, many years of fascinating acting ahead of him. Okay, now for the third and final segment, starting with number 15, Soren H. requests Echo. And he says, I like this explanation, quote, it is relevant to my interests, end quote. Soren, is Echo the one where the woman is blind and she echolocates her way around a haunted house? I love the look of that. I looked at a little bit of the early parts of it. So, Soren, great pick. My counter recommendation, if you haven't seen a movie by Mike Flanagan, who is hit or miss, lately very miss, his last movie was an adaptation of Gerald's Game, a dopey Stephen King novel. That's redundant, by the way. Dopey Stephen King novel. Mike Flanagan did a movie called Hush, which I recommend, about a deaf woman, Wait Until Dark. Is that the thing where some old-timey actress like Audrey Hepburn is blind or something? At any rate, Hush is a thriller where the lead character is deaf. I like it quite a bit. Luke requests Divinity Original Sin 2, review of that. Luke, if I were to play a drawn-out RPG right now, Divinity Original Sin looks really cool. I like a lot of what I've heard about it. But the one I would choose, and to which I will counter-recommend, to you, Luke, Battle Chasers Night War, which looked like a cute little kiddie thing, but I think it's a full-fledged RPG, which will drink many hours, like Divinity Original Sin 2. So there's my counter-recommendation. I've only seen a couple of hours of the beginning of Battle Chasers Night War, but I really like what I've seen so far. Andrew K., really? He actually said, okay, there's 2 Dane Cook movies, don't know which one I'm going to pick, so I'm going to flip a coin. And it was between Good Luck Chuck and Employee of the Month. Employee of the Month won the coin toss, so that's his request. A review of a Dane Cook movie. And I think he's punishing me because he's heard me say disparaging things about Dane Cook, which everyone does these days. So, alright, a couple of things. Good Luck Chuck has a young lady named Shalane Simmons in it, which is the only reason I know of that movie. Shalane Simmons, of course, the star of Chupacabra Terror, which you should see. That's not my counter-recommendation, though. So I'm sad that Employee of the Month, I don't know who's in that, won the coin toss. I would have rather Good Luck Chuck one. I've never seen it. So my counter recommendation to you, Andrew, there's a movie called 400 Days about people, including a lovely young actress named Katie Lotz, a young actor named Brandon Ruth, maybe you know him, and Dane Cook. I think there's a couple of other people. They're put in an underground bunker for 400 days, hence the name of the title. And the idea is it's preparing them to see if they're mentally fit for a mission to Mars, because you would be in close quarters in a spaceship with people for 400 days. So that's the premise of this movie, and one of those people is Dane Cook. And I don't want to spoil it. It's a dumb movie. But the takeaway is that being trapped in close quarters with Dane Cook would drive anyone crazy. There you go, Andrew K. Andrew S. Here's an interesting one. Andrew S. would like a review of a professional massage. Andrew, boy, I would love an opportunity to get a massage and say, I have to do this for work. I've had plenty of massages, most recently, and many different kinds of professional massages, right? There is a woman here in Los Angeles who specializes in massaging cancer patients, because people diagnosed with cancer have certain areas of their body that, like for instance, mine was in my neck. And when I got a massage, she knew to be very careful around my neck and to try certain things. And so that was her specialty. And I had a few massages with her, and she was awesome. Previously, I have had Thai massages, where a little Thai woman rolls herself all over you and uses her weight to bend your legs back and crazy stuff like that. I once had someone give me she characterized it, and I think I got scammed. She characterized it as a shiatsu massage. And what this involved was me, laying on the table, the blanket covering my nakedness, and it involved her running her hands like half an inch, a quarter inch above my skin, like never even touching me. The idea was she was massaging my aura. And this is what she described as shiatsu massage. I'm skeptical, but I once had that. I once got a massage from a dude, which I find massages very maternal, and I once signed up for a massage. It didn't occur to me that they would just give me the first available masseur, and I showed up and there was a dude there, and I thought, that's a little weird, but okay. And it was like a sports kind of thing, right? Like there's something very maternal about a good massage. Having a dude do it, it's like a sports thing, it felt like. So anyway, I should not be saying all this because that could go into a review of a professional massage. So Andrew S., my counter recommendation. Oh boy, this is a lot of personal information. A pedicure. I know. We're dudes. Dudes don't get pedicures. But look, trust me. If there's something cool about getting a massage, a pedicure, it's like a massage for your feet. Because what happens is they put your feet in it's like a Epsom salt bubble bath or something, and then they rub your feet. And they rub your toes and give them attention, and then they clip your toenails. And I guess if you wanted, they would paint your toenails. That would probably cost extra. I didn't have that. But I have a couple of times in my life had a pedicure, and I recommend the experience. Okay, let's get back. Oh, no, here's another weird one. Lucas N. would like me to review A Week with Freshly. I meant to look this up online. I think this is a service that will deliver fresh foods to your doorstep, and presumably you eat super healthy when they do that. So Lucas N., okay, sounds very cool. I eat plenty of junk food. It would be nice to just eat fresh food for a week. I would relish the challenge. Speaking of which, Lucas N., here is my counter recommendation. I've never been one much for diets or fancy eating regimens. However, the one exception to that, a few years back, I tried something called, and this is going to sound silly, I'm going to feel like I'm This is how a multi-level marketer would sound if they're trying to sell you diet supplements or something. But I once did the South Beach diet, which I think is a legitimate thing. I read a book to do it, and the guy who wrote the book, I think he said he was he was a heart doctor, I think. It's got to be worth something, right? At any rate, the South Beach diet, not so much to lose weight, although I think that's what it's for. What the South Beach diet does is it gets sugar out of your diet. And I haven't, it's a hard lifestyle to maintain, but I recommend exploring it, at least for a month or so. I'm sure there are other ways to do it than the South Beach diet, but the South Beach diet, if you get that little book thing, you could probably look it up online. I bet you could go to the Wikipedia page. You wouldn't have to buy anything. So, Lucas, my counter recommendation is the South Beach diet. Just see what that feels like. Not eating sugar is really cool. All right, Matthew J. A movie called The Perfect Host is his request. I know of this movie, but I've never seen it. I know that David Hyde Pierce is in it. I think it's a horror movie. I'm guessing like maybe he murders and eats his dinner guests. I don't know. I've never seen it. I would love to see this, especially because when I looked it up online, Matthew, it has as its second billed actor a fellow named Clayne Crawford, who I know from Justified, who I really, really like. If I'd known Clayne Crawford was in this movie, I would have seen it by now. So Matthew J., my counter recommendation, Clayne Crawford has a series on Fox called Lethal Weapon. And no lie, I really like it. So that's my counter recommendation. Bruce G., Dracula in the Impaled Forest. No, wait. I wrote the notes wrong. It's something about Encounter in the Impaled Forest, Vlad Dracula, or Vlad Dracula, Battle in the Impaled Forest, something like that. It's a solitaire game. It's a Kickstarter, so this isn't something I'd be able to actually play for several months, which is fine. And it looks terrible. Bruce G., really? What about that Kickstarter campaign makes you think this thing isn't awful? The whole approach to co-op, just the way that the guy is writing about how games spin out, that looks terrible. So Bruce G., my counter recommendation, and this is only partly terrible. Fantasy Flight has a game called Fury of Dracula, currently I think in its second edition. Fury of Dracula it's just a hidden movement game, where one dude is moving someone around, it's Scotland Yard, right? One dude's moving someone around on a board, and another dude, or multiple dudes, could be co-op on their side, are trying to find that hidden dude. It's a decent formula, but what Fury of Dracula does, Scotland Yard is just that. Like, there's no frippery, you're just playing that. Fury of Dracula is Fantasy Flight's usual approach of throwing tons and tons of Ameritrash at it, burying it under a mound of Ameritrash and calling it theming. So that's what Fury of Dracula is. But here's the deal. I kind of like Fury of Dracula. Now, it's a long time to spend for just hidden movement gameplay, but all that Ameritrash frippery that's piled on top of it is actually kind of cool and thematic and gratifying to lay out. Dracula has cool traps he can lay and tricks he can play. The Vampire Hunters, and really it's a two-player game, don't force other people to play the different characters when one player can do it just fine. One is Dracula, one is the Vampire Hunters. There's 4 of them. You always use all 4. You don't need to press into service 4 of your friends to be the Vampire Hunters. 1 will do just fine. But the Vampire Hunters also have cool tricks, and there's a lot of nifty cat and mouse in all of this Ameritrash. And it's vampire themed. You don't have to play some Kickstarter game. So this Vlad in the Impaled Forest, the idea is one person plays Dracula, and these other players play the Islamic forces in Romania or wherever, trying to, take out Vlad. Like he was a historical, an insurgent or something. I don't know. Come here. Look, we have a guest from the video. Come here. I know. All right. We're talking about Dracula. Okay. So anyway, there's my counter recommendation to you, Bruce G. Fury of Dracula, Fantasy Flight. And finally, Chris H., The Mansions of Madness. I actually have it right here. Is it second edition, third edition? Second edition. Big old Fantasy Flight game with terrible miniatures in it and these just god-awful, huge, clumsy bases that the miniatures go on, and you slide a tile in there. You don't need those. It's just a way to make the game more expensive. You know what, I'm pre-reviewing it, but that's Chris H's request. He's specifically fascinated by the fact that it's app-driven, which it is. You have to run an app, or you can just run it on a laptop, that runs the game for you, right? So I've got it, I haven't tried it. You can play it solitaire, right? But the problem is, when you're playing solitaire cooperatively with other people, some of the characters can go mad, and their goal runs counter to the other players, right? Like, it's sort of like a Battlestar Galactica game where in the course of play someone can become a traitor who wasn't a traitor originally. So that's one of the mechanics, and it's very app-driven, as Chris H. points out. My counter recommendation, Chris H., I meant to look up the name of it, I think it's called Elder Scrolls Omens. It's a Fantasy Flight game. The formula is basically Yahtzee. You roll dice representing, I think it's actually pretty abstract, I'm not sure what they represent, but you're trying to get different figures of dice to solve different mysteries. There's a very good app implementation of it. I can't imagine bothering with the tabletop version of it. But Elder Scrolls Omens, Chris H., if you haven't played it, that's my counter recommendation. When you're not using your iPad for Mansions of Madness, fire up some Elder Scrolls Omens. All right, let's do the drawing. It's perfect timing here because I'm about to lose my voice. 22 submissions for this request. All right, here we go on randomresult.com. Let's see if I can do this somewhat gracefully. All right, between 1 and 22, you guys can see here. Draw. Did it go? I don't think it did. Oh, it did. Wait, what is that? No, did it? It did. 4. What's 4? Uh-oh. Okay, hold on. Go back to my notes. 4 is, oh my God, Joseph M's request for an RPG character system. Okay. Artesia it is. Congratulations, Joseph M. You have won. Thank you guys so much for doing this, and my apologies for the delay. Hopefully this will go more quickly next month. And again, thank you guys so much for supporting me on Patreon. Hope everyone's having a great October. Happy Halloween, and I'll see you next month. Cheers.